I think you've only missed like one. And that was like you were in the middle of a dry fast or something, and it was like you just needed to sleep it off or something. Let me see if I can get us live here. Let me see. I always get really excited. But yeah, thanks, guys. It's been such a whirlwind these last 3-4 weeks. It's just been like, yeah, just really a journey.
Okay.
Lots of people and all of the opinions. Oh, here we are live, I think. Let me make sure I turn off the sound. That would be so amazing if I can do it without the sound thing happening. I think I did it. Can you guys hear me? Hi, friends. Are we good? We good? It's amazing. I'm so excited. We're starting with already 18 people. That makes me really happy. I have to say, sometimes I have these moments, I'm like, I don't think Alan has these moments, but these moments of, I'm just not going to do Miraculous Mondays this week. Like my ego's like, yeah, I'm just not going to do it. And then I think of you guys and I'm like, yeah, but even if 4 people showed up to this show, it would be worth it because that's what this is about. It's always been about the quantity, rather the quantity of the content, the quality of the content, not the quantity, the quality of the content, because the content is love. And there's no greater energy in the entire universe or whatever we're in that's greater than love. So as long as that's always our focus and that's always what we start with, then we're good to go. And that's primarily what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. So I'll just kind of talk for a few minutes and then pass it on to these beautiful men to see what's coming on. And there's a few others that said they would be coming. So we'll see how that plays out. And if you hear the rooster that lives downstairs, just, that's part of the, the charm of Mexico. But yeah, I just felt really compelled to talk about this concept that we're actually beginning in our yoga off the mat course in about 10 days. And it's a concept, a framework that comes from cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's called core belief. You might have heard about it. But it basically teaches that there's 3 core beliefs, and I'm going to go through them really quick. And the core belief has to do with our adapted personality. It's not really who we are, what we truly believe in our essence, but it's something that happens over a period of time. And generally, from the time we enter this reality, we come into our mother's womb up to 2 years old. So for those like 2 and almost 3 years, we're so wide open, we're so impressionable, we're so pure. And so it's the perfect time, you would say, for negative or false beliefs to be instilled at a level that's very fundamental. It's deep. It's like it's in there because it's the first time actually that we felt fear was when, at least in this lifetime, when we came into our mother's womb and then maybe there was something and she got afraid and we felt it and we went, oh God, what is that? Maybe not those words, but we just were like so impacted by that vibration because it's so opposite our natural state. It's so unfamiliar. It's so disturbing to our peace. Hi, Rebecca. I have a friend called Becca, so I tend to call all Rebeccas Becca. Hi. Thank you for being here. So I'm just kind of going through a little core belief tool that we use. And so that's the adapted personality that gets implanted. And the first core belief that I would venture to say most of us have. And as I'm talking through these, you might just kind of think like, what resonates with me? Like, do I kind of have that behavior? Do I feel like that sometimes? The first one says, I'm not good enough. It's this false belief that I'm just not good enough. And it becomes really present for people that grow up in families in an environment where there's lack, where there's scarcity. And I think all of us can relate to that on some level. Like, did your parents, struggle with time, with money, and not enough resources, not enough food, not enough help, not enough space in the house, something. And so there's that belief I'm not good enough in that environment. And people that have that not good enough tend to grow up with these behaviors of either wanting to be a perfectionist, like everything has to be perfect because I'm not good enough. And so maybe in school, I try really, really hard to do really great. But maybe at home, I'm kind of mediocre. So it's like two sides of a coin, right? On one hand, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do really great. I'm going to please my dad. I'm going to, do all this stuff, but I don't care about, my teachers or my environment. So there's this play between wanting everything to be perfect or just like blah, in the middle, because I believe I'm not good enough. So what does it matter to really like put my energy towards something? Are you with me? There's physical ailments that can manifest with people that have this core belief that I'm not good enough, and they generally exist from the head up. So headaches, toothaches, vision impairments, ear issues. Like I know for me, I'm getting so much ear stuff right now because I'm going deep on not good enough. I know it's false, but it still shows up in my reality in so many different ways. And I'm like, wow. And then I create something that shows me that I'm not good enough, but it's not true. It exists from the head up. But that physical ailment sometimes will indicate, ooh, okay, I see where I'm going with this. So head up. Okay. The second core belief, and this is the one I really wanted to go deep in today, because if you have this one, you also have the top. You also have not good enough. It says, I'm unlovable. It says, there's something, I'm just unlovable. And it's generally, hi, Lonnie. Namaste. Thank you for being here. I know you've got your whole life changing. So I'll try and get through this piece quick and have you guys share. But basically, I'm unlovable. This is in an environment where there's an absence of emotional intimacy with generally the same-sex parent. So if you felt like you really couldn't count on your mom or your dad, depending on what sex you are, it's like, there's something, I just can't. So the behaviors that people with unlovable tend to express in this reality would be pleasing or testing. Anybody else play with this pleasing and testing business? I certainly do. I am such a pleaser sometimes. And it's a problem because you can't make other people happy. We get this on some level. We know it's not our responsibility, but we still try and do it. Right? So on one hand, you might be pleasing your spouse, your partner, or you're testing. Anybody else test too? I have this one big time. I just push the boundary. I know I need you to prove that I'm lovable. So I'll just keep poking your buttons till I get you to crack. And then I can say, see, you don't love me unconditionally. See, this is it. Obviously, I'm unlovable. And where do we have physical ailments for people that are walking around with unlovable? Here in the heart space. So, breast cancer, lung issues, arms, thoracic, shoulders, what are those rotator cuffs? How many people are having shoulder replacements?
The V-neck.
So much of that kind of stuff, right?
Oh, the other one.
I'm gonna mute you, Sabina. Hi, Sabina. Thank you for being here. Look at her beautiful background. I'm not going to really go into the third one today because I really want to focus on the second. The third one's deep. Sign up for the course. I'm just playing. Nobody call me up and say all you care about is money. I just wanted to say that this is deep work. So I just don't want to like throw it all over YouTube because you're going to need to process some of this stuff. It's not like, oh, okay, well. So basically, I'm unlovable is a problem, I would say, in our reality because way too many people are walking around with this program. And it's causing, I would venture to say, all of the suffering in the world. Because if we knew we were lovable, and this is what I wrote about, then it wouldn't matter so much what other people thought or said. The illusions that we have about ourselves, that we have to prove ourselves to receive love. I mean, how many of us operate this way? Or I have to prove myself with a lot of us working on the diet right now so that I can show I'm good enough. I'm worthy of love. Remember, if you've got unlovable, you're operating with not good enough. And so these false programs really need some extraction. Because if we don't look at the ways in which we're operating with these false thoughts, then we just keep perpetuating the same thing. And I can see it in my children so often. Hi, Dave. Thank you for being here. It's nice to have a full screen again. Although I really loved our like little intimate circles too. I love it all. Because like what I said earlier, it doesn't really matter to me how many people show up. It's the quality of the conversation. And I think these types of conversations are really important for us because so many of us can relate with like, wow, I can see how I was rolling in that relationship and how it backfired. And I was having a conversation with someone a couple days ago, and it was like, I invited her to say, I said, okay, well, what are your resentments about this relationship? She's like, oh, I already worked on this. I'm good. And I said to her, well, if you did, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So what is that resistance we have to looking at the places where we're still attached to I'm not good enough or unlovable? Because those thoughts are the cause of all of the suffering because they're untrue. Would God create something that's not good enough? Like, would he create a koala bear and go, yeah, no, I don't like it. Not good. No, he goes, wow, that was awesome. What else can we create? That's my perception of how God operates. God doesn't create a beautiful extension of itself and go, yeah, this one's just not lovable. It's not cute enough. I don't like its fingernails, right? That's silliness. But a lot of people are walking around with this and not even realizing it. And so our opportunity is to really look at it within ourselves. Wow, when am I feeling like I'm really pleasing this person? And I just keep doing it again and again and again, and it's not working. Are we willing to rewire our own minds and to constantly say, well, I'm lovable. My creator says I'm lovable. I was created perfect. And this reality, all it is for me to return to that. So every experience, every situation, every dream, everything is about reminding myself of the truth of who I am. And there's a lot of cats right now out in the world talking about authenticity. Well, what is authenticity? Isn't it just moving from the truth of who you are? I'm created perfectly, and that's my work in this life, is to accept myself. And sometimes that means accepting the bad stuff, in quotes. Because if we can embrace the bad stuff, that's a lot of where our lessons come from too, isn't it? I heard something, I was watching this movie, I'll try and remember to put it in the show notes. It was called The Illusion of Money. And it was by Kyle somebody. Has anyone heard of this? It's a really good documentary. I really recommend it. But he was talking about, like, he was doing this workshop and he was talking about, this woman said to him, like, I'm afraid of being broke. And he said to her, yeah, but isn't where blues came from? Isn't that where blues music came from? Sometimes being broke or sometimes being in pain or sometimes suffering, that is what's bringing us that beautiful poem or that creative idea. And so to the extent that we can go, wow, okay, I've got these programs of unlovable, not good enough. And my opportunity is to change my mind about who I think I am. And no matter what happens, if I can know myself deeper as an extension of God, then I should be good to go. And I'll be able to see my programs when they show up, and I'll be able to deny their power over me. Oh, our little friend. Okay, does that make sense? I just wanted to kind of throw that out there today. think it's just a good one. I would like to offer us this kind of assignment this week of looking at where am I trying to make this perfect, and go, oh, okay, maybe that's because I think I'm not good enough. Where am I testing? Really looking at our behaviors, really paying it self-study. That's called svadhyaya in the 8 limbs of yoga, in the yamas and niyamas, self-study. A lot of people are studying others, spending a lot of their time studying others and their egos and how they mess that up. That is really a waste of your time. Unless they've come to you and like paid you and that's like the service or whatever, like that's not your role in this life. I'm just going to say it straight up. Your role, your opportunity in this life is self-reflection, self-study. Look at all the body of knowledge out there and see how you relate to it. How does this apply to me? I love it when Joel shows up because it always brings for me those Toltec wisdom, those 4 agreements. Don't assume that you know what's going on in somebody's life to the extent that you spend your time judging them. Really dangerous, because it lowers your frequency and it takes the focus off how you're self-purifying. And it's a distraction. And it's playing into pleasing, testing, all of those weird behaviors that we're trying to grow out of. Because the more we grow out of them and we don't allow them, we don't treasure them, we see them, we clear them in the moment, all of that, that's when we actually get to be the healers. And we actually get to see our world change for the better. It's not going to change for the better because we're pointing out all that's wrong with it. At this point, all of us know what's wrong with it. We're pretty well versed. We could write books about it. At this point, let's start to talk about what's right within ourselves and with each other. That will lift our vibration and that will bring us more miracles. And I told you last week, something is happening with the level of miracles and the timing of the miracles now. I can't say if this has always been the case. It probably has been. I just haven't been aware of it. But even yesterday, we had a miracle that was like it had Danny and I both go, okay, things are getting a little like, wow. 2 hours later, after I said this, now here it is. How now? How I'm telling you, purification of self, pulling all of your energy back into yourself. Doesn't matter what other people say, think, do. Just we've spent so much time on it. Pull back in. It's like the yogis in the cave. Go back into your cave. Lift your vibration. Then you can see it. Then you've got that bird's eye view. And you can fix only your part in it. Because you chose all the hardships. You chose all that stuff. All of you guys know that. Someone said to me in our private group, yeah, but I know I'm creating the situation, but I keep creating the same situation. I go, well, because you're not learning your lessons. You can learn through pleasure or through pain. It's a line from the Course in Miracles. And a lot of us choose pain. I would venture to say, let's spend this week focusing on pleasure. How about that? Pleasure of a peach. Alan's teaching us about the pleasure of a peach, the pleasure of a watermelon, the pleasure of anything, of the butterfly. Like, there are so many butterflies here. I've just never seen so many butterflies. They're so magical. The colors, the patterns, who did that? Seriously, do you make butterflies? We're kind of crazy, friends. And it's okay. We might as well just acknowledge the fact that we have some weird programs that we've inherited from all of the. So let's use this lifetime to clear it all. Why not? You have the strength to do that. The part of you that says, not me, is again a false belief. I'm not good enough. My mother was an alcoholic. My mom is not an alcoholic, but we make up these excuses. I can't because I was, abused as a child or whatever it was. And those things are real events. But remember, on some level, you chose that. Your highest self chose that because you wanted to prove only love was real. You wanted to prove it. Yes, in this reality, suffering is real. Yes. But in the reality of eternity, which is the only sustainable reality there is, there's only love. So if this is an ascension journey, wouldn't it just kind of make common sense that we've got to figure out how to get to that reality of love? And the only thing that we need to do to get there is just to let go of all the bags we're trying to bring with us. Our judgments about ourselves, our judgments about the ex, our judgments about this. You can't bring your bags to heaven. Everything's already there for you. We just need to learn how to trust that. Is my favorite so-and-so going to be there? Is my favorite dress going to be there? My favorite shoes? Can we trust that God knows what we need? And this is where it all comes down to, and this is the essence of it before I pass it over to you, beautiful, mighty friends, is this. Our healing has so much to do with embracing one fact, and that's this: God is love. Just look at a butterfly or a bird. Seriously, birds, there's like a bazillion types of birds, sizes, their feathers, their color structures. Who did that? What? It must be love. It must be love. Could fear create that? Fear can be powerful, absolutely, because we're the ones with the power. So if we put our minds into fear, we can create a whole reality. We see that. It's disgusting. There's a lot of bad stuff happening. But a lot of us have been kind of stuck in there, and this is an opportunity to pull out and to heal our relationship with our creator and to accept his, her, its iteration of who we are rather than the one that we've inherited or the one that some of us just keep giving to each other. Yeah, you're not good enough. Sorry. Yeah, that's going to be really hard to heal. Sorry. Good luck. I mean, how crazy is that? It's insane. The course material says that that's insane. The thinking of the world is insane. So this is all about returning to our sanity, which is acknowledging who we are, being authentic, living in the mystery, and looking at where we believe we're unlovable and really creating space from that. And the easiest thing I want to give you guys today in terms of a tool is, am I willing to see this differently? And ask for guidance. That's the bridge back. So you can go to Joel or Lonnie or Sabina. All of these people in this space have the skills and the talent to coach you and to support you in whatever area of your life, you need support. But at the end of the day, this is between you and your creator. And you have a direct link. And so any 5 minutes, 3 minutes, how can I, and you'll just be sitting there. The next thing you know, something will happen. And 2 hours later, a miracle of such magnitude will present itself that you'll just bow in gratitude. That's reality. Because it is. Thank goodness, right? That God is love. A lot of us were taught to fear God. I sure was. You're really scared. God's mad at you. You are so guilty. And then all the religions in the world are promoting that. Just a little bit of guilt. A little bit of guilt is a lot. A little bit of anxiety, rage. There's only two. It's love or fear. You're either in the state of love or you're in the state of fear. This practice that we're all learning to embody and to embrace is, can I spend longer periods of time in the state of love? Because that's when I'm actually living in reality. And that's where the abundance is. That's where the joy is. That's where the unity is. That's where I see my brother as one with me. And there's no space for me to see all of his errors. The minute I see his errors, they show me mine again. But if I see his grace and I see his beauty, then I see mine. And then we both we walk to heaven hand in hand, not elbowing each other out of the way. I need a space up here. That's not how it works. You think God would create a reality like that? There's only one of us in here. P.S. She's in Canada, she's in New York, you know, she's over there, he's over there. That's untrue. That's the illusion of this body, that haircut. I mean, we're all in this thing together. We can say that, but living it is a whole new thing. It's a lot more fun, a lot more miraculous. So I'm excited to hear from you guys here. I want to leave lots of space to that, to hear about your miracles, to hear about your insights, to hear about where you're at in your own practice and how you're feeling and all of the things. So anything that you want to share, trusting that was useful for all of you. Who wants to start us off? I think I said, Rebecca, if you wanted to start us off, I know you have little ones you're trying to keep busy.
It sounds like Lonnie might need to go first.
Would you turn up your volume? I don't know. Can everybody else hear? Okay, no. We're good? Thank you, everybody, for being here. Everybody in the chat, thanks. Yeah, Susan's like, I've had miracles that are impossibly I know. Sometimes I can't, I can't share this one. It's just, I will in a few weeks once I've integrated it, but like right now it's just too, so beautiful. Okay, Rebecca, are we good? Someone else can go first. Okay, who else wants to pop in? Come on, Lonnie. I know you got to pack. Lonnie, then Sabina.
Lonnie has to pack. That's right. Lonnie is moving in 2 days.
Yay!
Oh my God. My heart is just beating out of my chest right now because it is coming down to that crunch. And it's like not just a regular move. This is a move. This is a life-altering, changing paradigm move. I'm moving to some raw land we're just going to live in like an RV, you know, not even sure if there's going to be power there when I get there. And I'll be there by myself with my kids until another family joins us next month. So, I mean, I'm going to literally be digging a deep hole and making it like an outhouse for us. And literally just, this is the reality. This is what I'm doing. Interesting. Yeah. Talking about paradigms, they keep us on repeat. So it's in our subconsciousness that we hold these tendencies that were kind of force fed to us since we were born, basically, that we just didn't really have a choice, right? That they've been instilled into us from family, from influences, things like that. And it's how we are, how we view and how we are in the world. And it's really hard to change unless you acknowledge it and recognize what it is and realize that you do have the power to change it. Yeah. And it does help to change the people that you're around and that you attract into your life. We can't expect change and transformation if we keep hanging out with the same crowds of people and you know, we're just going to be stuck there forever. It's time to be opening up to new people, new ideas, new ways of being, and see what feels good and feels right and what feels like flow when something is actually changing in your paradigm, in your life. Then you know you're on the right track. We're not here to just be doing the same thing every day, day in, day out, like robots. That's what robots do. Robots are like programmed to be and do certain things in a certain way every day. Well, do you know that you have the power to tap into that program and reprogram yourself so that you can act and be in a certain way to receive certain, you know, results and things like that? And when you were, I like your earrings, by the way. See, you're doing the feather thing like me.
Like yours. Some guy was selling them on the side of the street for 100 pesos. It's like $5.
I'd be buying them.
Fun.
Maybe you could send me a pair
Sure.
if you see him again.
Yeah.
And when you were mentioning earlier about, doing things to impress others, like juicing or living a certain lifestyle, it's to get like the recognition from other people. Well, no, we have to, and I think we all know better, right? But we're doing juicing, we're doing meditation, we're doing these things, hopefully we are, to feel better, so that we feel good. Once we start doing things for other people, well, who is that serving? That's not feeling good for anybody. That's just putting out stagnant energy again into the world. So you're really affecting the world adversely. But when we are doing the things that make us feel good, that's going to resonate and vibrate and just go all over the place in this whole world and affect things in such a positive, wonderful, beautiful way. So always ask yourself, how is this making me feel? And if it's good, then keep doing it. Keep doing that. Keep doing that and keep trying new things and stick to those things that are making you feel. We're such feeling beings. The last thing I wanted to touch on was money, because you had brought it up. So
The illusion of money.
well, and just the thoughts that go with that as well. We've all been kind of taught, and it's been again, it's something pushed into our subconscious mind, that money is the root of all evil, all this kind of negative stuff and connotation. We shouldn't be asking for money and all this stuff about money. I'm just going to read something to you guys, because you got to ask yourselves, first of all, why is that statement so rampant? Okay, money is the root of all evil. Why is that out there? Right? It's all lies, right? It's all lies. If you, just like anything, if you're resonating and putting out good intentions, whether it's with people or with things or with money or whatever, it's all just tools in this world that just help us get to where we want to be in the world and what our purpose is. There's nothing wrong with money. And I want to read this to you, and I can send like a little picture of it maybe in your group, your Facebook group or something like that after. It's an affirmation that I think people can start saying to themselves to just kind of retrain again, get to that core of yourself. I hear like a feedback. To retrain your thinking about money. So here we go. So money is the root of all good, because it provides me with certain comfort that is needed for my well-being. And as I receive, my cup overflows onto others to keep this infinite recirculation of abundance. So be it. It's just an exchange. It's just another exchange. And we give it the power, whether it's going to be evil or good or whatever, right? It's how we are, what we're giving to it and feeding it. So that's my 2 cents for today. I'll stay for a little bit longer, and I'll listen in the background as I'm just doing my 5 million other things. Woo! And if you guys want to follow me in my progress on the land, like I'm going to do little videos probably on my YouTube channel, Facebook page and stuff like that, just showing our progression and the story and just the adventures we're going to be having there, like just for starting, like digging an outhouse and just doing these things on basic bare land. I'm not even kidding you. So here I go.
So amazing. We're so excited, and it's so fun because we're going to have that experience through you. And that's this unity consciousness that we're craving it. We're craving to be at one with each other. And this is something that's like, wow, because a lot of people are talking about this right now, right? Getting out on the land, New Earth communities, and Lonnie's going for it. And she's starting with her family. Like, how beautiful is that? Just, it's not like I need to have all of these ducks in a row. It's like, we're going to go. And it's not like the house is already there or the program, like that. She's working with people to manifest this beautiful dream. But it starts with each and every one of us doing what we can. And that's amazing. An outhouse outside. I'm sure Alan will love that because he thinks we're barbarians going in toilets, you know, so. It's like, thank you for that, Lonnie. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we will be doing like human manure, composting and things like that. That's kind of the goal. But like I said, I'm there just by myself for the first part. So I just told them yesterday in our meeting, I'm just digging a hole. When you guys come and join me, then we can make other plans. This is what I know for now. So.
Right. Right. And that's in alignment with what you were saying before. I'm not going to do this to make other people happy. See, a lot of this stuff is just happening just because of our unconsciousness. It's the parts of our shadow that we just don't know about yet. So it's great to have mighty companions and friends and coaches and stuff that can help us to see where we're still pleasing or testing. But if she went there and like tried to do that all by herself, like that's something I would do. Not anymore. I got some real deep lessons recently, but like that deep pleasing, that deep, I'm unlovable. So I have to prove I'm worthy. And then that's the illusion. That's the false program playing itself out through me. And I get to decide, what do I want to do? I want to promote the false programs, or do I want to promote the loving programs? Thanks for being a shining light, Lonnie. It's awesome. Thanks for all the love. Lonnie's a powerhouse, guys. She's got it going on. All right, Sabina, tell us what's up. How are you? We've got a volume. Unmute yourself.
Hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Hello, everyone. So nice to be here. And well, first of all, Lonnie, amazing, talking about the power of creation. And I remember talking to you about a year ago, and you mentioned you have this dream. And here it is, it's happening. So congratulations, amazing for you. And I want to quickly share on, Marie, what you mentioned before about pain. And I actually had a really powerful lesson about pain about 4.5 years ago when I worked with a shaman. And I was at that time in such pain, I couldn't function. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't really take care of my son because I actually had my partner of almost 6 years. One day he just walked away and I've never seen this man again. So he left everything behind, the house, me and everything. And I was in such pain, I couldn't function. And then I consulted a shaman. And I was desperate. I said, I need help. Please help me. I need something. Maybe I need something. I need to take ayahuasca or something. I need something. Yeah. And he said to me, Sabina, your pain, your medicine is in your pain. You don't have to take any substance. You don't need to talk to anyone. All you need to be with that pain. You sit with the pain, you feel the pain, you let the pain express itself verbally or physically in any way. But it's about you being with that pain. So I learned this amazing lesson from that pain can actually be a medicine. Because we tend to, when we experience pain, we tend to cover it up or avoid it, or we tend to take something to escape it, or even taking substances to numb ourselves. So that's what usually humans we're conditioned to do. So I learned actually to really sit with my pain. And I sat with this for about 10 months of my life. So, 9.5 months, like almost the process of having a child, yeah. And really feeling that pain. And it was a very intense time in my life, but I learned so much just to be comfortable with all of it and really to look at myself, look every aspect of myself, my darkness, my light, and really look who I truly am. And what I first saw, of course, I didn't like, because I saw a lot of the ugly parts of myself that I try not to see. But actually, by welcoming and embracing it, that this is also part of me, and then, really going deep, where does actually that pain also come from? And really looking at my patterns, looking at the beliefs, looking at the conditioning, look at my upbringing, look at my family. And I saw actually a lot of my pain, it didn't even come from that man leaving. It actually came from certain behavior patterns I adopted from childhood. And actually a lot had to do with my father and the relationship between my parents. So actually at some point, the deeper I did that work, I saw my whole life in a movie, but I was able to step outside of myself and see the whole movie for what it is, without judging it, without feeling bad, without guilt, as you said, no guilt, without shame. And it took a while because there was a lot of shame and guilt actually there. And I actually saw that I didn't really live what I thought I did, what I spoke, and I actually lived a life of illusion. And I actually told people I'm leading sacred partnership with this man. And everyone looked at me, wow, she found the perfect partner. And people looked up at me. And I realized that actually I lived a lie. This was not sacred partnership. This is actually a very abusive and dysfunctional relationship. And I saw actually the repetitive pattern from my father, that I grew up in an environment and it was normal for me to be there. So I kind of recreated the same environment over and over again with different partners, but it was so normal because that's all I ever knew. And once I was able to see the movie and step out of it and see it as a movie, I said, oh my God, yeah. And I saw my patterns, then I was able to shift them and create new patterns going forward. And this really started by seeing the pain as the medicine, not covering up, not avoiding, just feeling and being with it. So pain is actually potent. It was the greatest transformation I ever experienced. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Sabina. It's beautiful. It's an important one. It's an important lesson because we avoid pain. And sometimes the medicine is in the pain. Like you have to have the pain. You have to have that contrast so that you know what you don't want. And it's such a tool for awakening, isn't it? Of self. It's like you could have blamed him. You could have put all of that on him, but instead you took that opportunity to learn the lessons that your soul wanted to learn and to evolve from it, to embrace it. It's like embracing the pain, embracing the discomfort, embracing those shadow aspects of self that we don't want to look at is the healing. Oh, I healed that. Like my friend the other day, I'm good. I don't want to. Yeah, but it's still there. What aspect of yourself are you not loving? The part of you that feels unlovable, the part of you that's in a dysfunctional relationship, the part of you that has an addiction, whatever it is, are you willing to love that part of yourself? Too. Not just the good stuff. Oh, we're such funny creatures, aren't we? We just like cannot deal sometimes with our shit. And it's not like, it's fine. And I feel you. So I love it when you share that, like, and it was like having a baby. We all get these things in between our ears, but it's that actually doing it in the present moment and knowing it will pass. It will pass. It does. It always does. And it goes faster if we sit with it and we love it. It's been my experience. If you love it, it will go. Love is serious stuff, guys. We think we know love, but we get like a fraction of it. We get these moments of bliss, and I was talking about butterflies and flowers and all things, but like the state of it, we're practicing to receive more and more of it. Which means we have to look at what we're still treasuring that's not love, which is what she's speaking to. I have to look at what I'm attached to. And a lot of times we're attached to our illusions because it's like, well, who would I be? Isn't that the question? Like, you might be somebody who, sells all her stuff and moves out to the middle of nowhere and, digs a hole. You might be that. Wouldn't it be fun to live in that mystery and to be that level of guide, that guided in your reality, that like, okay, I'm going to go with what I'm guided to go to. And when you have your direct link, like Lonnie does, like Sabina does, like all of us here are really practicing this. Like this is the journey of mastery, is practicing. A lot of people just say they're masters, like, well, are you really practicing this? That's the question I ask myself. Are you really practicing love right now? Loving consciousness and action. Are you really doing that right now? And only you can say yes, no, or maybe. So isn't it interesting that we're closer to people the more we detach from them? Isn't that interesting? Like the more I detach from your illusions and my illusions, the more I can actually connect with the truth of who you are, and I can acknowledge, the gifts you gave me, even though they were painful. Thank you. Thank you. Equanimity comes from that level of gratitude. Beautiful. Rebecca, how's your speaker? Are we back in business?
How's that?
Yes.
Yay. Sorry, Lonnie, I think that feedback was me. I fixed the volume. So, it's nice to be here. I'm loving this conversation, absolutely. It's funny how our illusions can cover up our true selves and keep us from our true selves. And I love when you talk about authenticity and how those core beliefs that are programmed in us so early start to put these layers on top of layers on top of layers over the truth of who we are. And Sabina, thank you for sharing your story. Ilana, you're so brave. I'm sure we're all going through similar but different situations. I recently left the corporate world. I've been pursuing a coaching career for a long time, but I had that layer of that corporate world over it. And there's so much fear in who will I be if I walk away from this illusion. And yet the beauty of it, I had to smile because a butterfly just flew by the window, because it's so transformative and it's amazing. Life is so beautiful. And Joel, I hear you talk about going through the pain, and there is pain on the other side of walking away from a corporate career, but there is so much joy and beauty on the other side of the pain. And so it's sides of the same coin, that yes, we do learn from pain, and hopefully once we do, on the other side of that is something beautiful, which is us, our truth, love. And core beliefs, it's so amazing how they drive us all, like unconsciously, how asleep we can be and not realize all of the programming, repetitive thoughts, thousands and thousands of thoughts that are the same every day going through our minds, and sometimes unconsciously. And to be able to remove the layers, to see the truth and to change the core beliefs. I love, Ronnie, how you talk about reprogramming, because it is so simple how we can keep ourselves stuck with these beliefs. And
Yeah.
it's
Beautiful. I find too, Becca, the closer we get, like when you have people that say, well, I already did this work. We've all had these moments like, oh, I just did this. I just did, like, what is this again? I thought we cleared this. It's back again, whatever. I find that a lot of us, and if you guys have a differing opinion, let me know, but it's like, we've healed a lot. It's not to undermine all of the healing work you've done. But if I look at like the field, or if I get real like expansive, and I think about how big I actually am and how ginormous my energy is and how responsible I am to clear as much as I can around me. In yoga, it's like, the warrior poses. It's like, okay, so I got all of this space around me. Why do I cut through this? Why do I move my arm this way? Why am I, doing these types of movements? I'm clearing the space around me. So I liken it to this idea that we have cleared, but a lot of it's the outside, and we're getting closer and closer and closer. We're purifying this crystalline self that we are. And so, yeah, there's stop-offs. It's like, oh gosh, okay, well, I cleared it, 2 millimeters over here, but now I'm here. And God wants all of us. So all of our energy, like it wants to embrace every aspect of us. So if we're still treasuring one little piece that we can't see, then absolutely we're going to create something the higher and higher we get to show us where, that area over there. Our minds are like mansions. You've cleaned a lot of rooms. You've gone into a lot of rooms, but it's so expansive. Like, how many rooms do we just like close the door until we get to that room? It's like we're going into some kind of sequence here. So it's fine to revisit, there's going to be a lot of soul lessons that are repetitive, self-love, if we're talking about core beliefs of I'm unlovable, okay, and you're, let's say 40 in this life or 50, however old you are, and you've thought, they say, it only takes 10 times to think something before it becomes a belief. Okay, so then once you have a belief, it's a hard wire. And then if you're thinking one way, it's going to create certain feelings. So if I think I'm unlovable or I'm not good enough or I'm not as good as him or whatever, and I've done that at least 10 times, come on, we did that 10 times in the last hour, then our feelings plus our thoughts are going to create behaviors in the world. And so it's generally the behaviors that wake us up and go, oh, and then we get to backtrack and go, what am I thinking? And how can I correct that thought? And usually it's just the opposite. Oh, I thought I wasn't good enough. Well, what's the truth about me? God's truth about me, not the one that he said or she said or I say. God's truth about me is that I'm a perfect, holy son of God. Oh, well, if I think that at least 10 times, I got to, reprogram it. I got to create a new pathway because I generally go in this way because that's familiar. It's just I go that way. But if I go back to that and I heal the cause, which was the misalignment in thought, the program that I inherited, and I remember I'm divine in this moment. How would you have me see this? Then it triggers a different kind of feeling. Safety. I'm safe, not being attacked. Not a victim of the world I see. And then I go, oh, okay. And then what happens with my behaviors? They change. Someone said earlier in the chat, Lonnie is so brave. Yeah, she's brave. She's brave. Maybe she wasn't always that way, but she's still got her stuff about it, but she's choosing to have a different experience, even though it's a shift. So it's like getting all of us in alignment to that God frequency is the journey of life. And a lot of us, we're getting better and better and better and better. But we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be somewhere we're not. Can we just be where we are and be really grateful? I trust that was useful. I don't know.
Yeah, another aspect of that too that came up for me recently was the people pleasing and how I'm pursuing a yoga teacher training certification, and the yoga teacher was very harsh with me and with no one else, and I really had to sit with that pain and understand why was that so difficult. And I realized in that need to please her was a need for acceptance. I wanted her to validate me. And so when we search outside for that, what does that mean? That means we're not giving that to ourselves.
Exactly.
Right? So the acceptance has to come from within. So how do I know I'm worthy? Simply because I'm breathing.
Yes.
It is a 1 in 400 billion chance that you are here on this planet, that the sperm met the egg and that you became who you are. You are important, right? We are all valuable and we are lovable and we are worthy. And so just to remember that we have to give ourselves that love and acceptance.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And if you're a yoga teacher and you're watching this, please love on the students. Seriously. I don't get it. I really don't. And this might be a borderline judgment. I hear it way too often. These yoga teachers just being so mean. Don't be a mean yoga teacher. People are already giving themselves a hard time. Like they're already giving themselves a hard time. And then they come to yoga to feel better. And then you give them a hard time. Which means you're giving yourself a hard time, which means you need yoga off the mat because you're not practicing yoga off the mat. And yoga off the mat matters more than the handstands and how cute you look in your yoga pants. Seriously. I get so annoyed. Sabine, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Like, what is going on with the yoga world right now? It's getting crazier and crazier. Now they're talking that ahimsa is getting the vaccine. I do not want to go in this direction. I'm just saying. Ahimsa, nonviolence, okay? The principle of nonviolence, the first one. Nonviolence, and satya is the second one, truthfulness. Nonviolence, that includes your words, okay? Every single being that listens to this. If your words are judgmental, they're violent, you're not practicing ahimsa. It's just a fact, okay? That's fact. Satya is truthfulness. The truth is the yoga student in front of you is perfect. Their downward dog is perfect, okay? I always tell the yoga teachers to leave them alone for the first few downward dogs if you're doing sun salutes. And then, if there's really something, ask if they're open to a recommendation. Seriously, where's the respect? Anyway, that's my little thing. I'm sorry that happened to you. It's a trigger for me. It's like yoga teachers, some of the rudest people I've met.
Well, you think it's going to be a safe place. I think that's why it caught me so off guard. Like,
Be really careful. Well, you can buy certificates online. It's just so you have to really choose. I said this in the beginning of this entire thing on my other, like my podcast, not YouTube channel. And I was like, I have a whole podcast on this around who are you giving your time to? Your time is your currency. This is a privilege for us. This is a privilege for me. This is an honor. I don't take it lightly. I really, I really feel grateful that people spend time here. Even if you spend 5 minutes, thank you for your 5 minutes. What a gift. So if someone's coming to a yoga class or someone's going to a coaching session or someone's going to Qigong or whatever it is, they're giving you their time. So time can be, money. What is money? They give you $12. Okay, they gave me $12. My exchange for that is loving consciousness and action. That's what cancels out money is bad. Money's not bad. I thank you for bringing that here. A lot of spiritual teachers teaching that right now, and it's just a false teaching. It just is, because it's a poverty consciousness, which is scarcity, which is not 5D. Yeah, there we don't need money, but we're on our way there. And we can try, we can practice, but the consciousness is not there yet. Some of us are reaching those levels of consciousness and we're practicing and we're really trying to get there, but not enough of us have reached critical mass to get there. And that's okay. But we keep holding that vision. And until then, we bless the currency that we have. And if someone's giving you their time and their money, it's not that, you want to stroke them, be false around it, but you do want to have love, because people recognize love. They do. That's my 2 cents on that. All right. Who's next? Joel, you want to chime in? And
Yeah, sure.
wow. Thanks for being
everyone. Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this. Yeah, I appreciate everyone's share and get a lot from it. And the theme of pain and then freedom, Rebecca, your transition away from a toxic world, it's so powerful to do this, and you're going to heal so much, and then there'll come a time in your life where you've healed so much that you'd be able to, if you so choose, to go back to that world and it wouldn't affect you in a negative way ever again. And that's where you really reclaim your power in this world. And it doesn't have to be much, but we want to make that act so that we no longer put ourselves below anything or anyone, and that nobody has power over us ever again. And it's a really, really deep thing to truly do for the rest of your life, because it will constantly, there will be people that you will either look up to or put up on a pedestal or be afraid of, or be, feel anxiety from the intensity that they can channel. And so how we learn to be calm enough in order to observe so thoroughly that we can tell that even they are shaking in their boots, that everyone is struggling with their social mask, and that mask is heavy, awkward, and it's keeping us from becoming abstract, liberated, creatures that can transcend everything. And so we're really, when you talk about not being able to bring your suitcases to heaven, it's that, but it's also you're not able to bring your mask. And so at some point, your mask is going to come off. And it usually happens when you're super old, and it becomes Alzheimer's or something because of it. And so what I'm trying to help people do is take that mask off ahead of that time, so that it doesn't have to happen in a way that, is unsustainable or unprocessed, so that your children can say goodbye to you, so that, you're leaving this world just, as an ethereal, now light, elderly being that has become just totally in love, And so that self-love piece will absolutely happen when that mask comes off. And it may be your last moment before you leave, where you fully receive that touch from source, where you're so healed that everything, your energy field is completely all at once, just done. You're just, but there is an opportunity, and shamans do this, they do that prior. And so it just gets so incredible. And you do journey back to your childhood on such a degree that you pick up aspects of your wounds, details that go beyond what you think. Only shamans do this, but you get to the point where you've revisited every memory of your life so thoroughly that you really come to know the blueprints that happened that first moment, like you were talking, Marie, the first moment your mom had a fear. Skin to skin, whatever, that it's just completely transmitted, right? And our perception matches and is being formed by the perception that they're in. And so when we're inspired by those in our life that create feelings that we've never felt because our parents never created that feeling for us, then we're starting to branch away from our roots into become the seekers of knowledge, the seekers of the universe. We're just going after feelings, and we're all holding each other back because we're all talking as if there's some syntax in which to bind to. So there's nothing to talk about, really. This is about moving perception. This is about going to the place where you can do it on your own, that it's sustainable for you, that you have jolts. You jolt yourself with the most beautiful music so that it makes you feel your death, and that you take in the moment, so completely. And you can do this all the time. And it can be something that you reuse and reuse and reuse. If it does it for you, it'll always evolve. So, there's just all these incredible ways to really come to terms with the pain without being pressured to do so. And so, like a teacher putting pressure on you to change, like a yoga teacher, that creates morbidity, and it takes years to heal that. And it took me years to heal from the pressure. I was going to be left behind if I didn't change. I was like 16. I was so scared. I'd found this incredible way to live, and no one else was doing it. And this person was just saying, "Look, you're not good enough. You can't keep up with me." And then so I'm just, that I was able to change, and I'm glad that this happened. But the morbidity is dark. The things that you go into, the way that you talk to yourself, because they're healing you, they're exposing your ego, they're helping you to see everything. And then, they're out of balance, and they don't know that, and you don't know that. And then you take the brunt of that. And that's what's going on everywhere. All the teachers are out of balance. Anybody that doesn't have somebody calling them out on their shit right now is just spreading unconsciousness, no matter how fucking incredible they're teaching, right? You need somebody that is calling you out on your shit. And if you can't survive and do this work on your own, and your partner is holding you up, and you need validation from any other being in this world in order to be a guide or a teacher, then you need to really come to terms with that. Like what Sabine is saying, what she went through, it was the rite of passage that we all go through in order to then realize that we are alone, and that this work is done through connecting to source directly. And when we become whole, we then manifest a partner that is whole. And so it's even harder to be in a relationship that while you're evolving than it is to be alone. And so I don't discredit people that are in relationship. You have to do double the shadow work together. You have to have like a sexual tantric shadow guide or coach, or really know that shit, because there's so much wounding that occurs when you're having sex with someone, because you're exchanging your power. And we don't talk about that. We're exchanging our power every time you even have a desire for another person. There's this luminous exchange of energy that occurs. But when you crack open each other and you're exchanging that luminosity through a sexual act, 7 years, you're bound. You will feel every feeling that person felt from that moment for 7 years, from that moment on. And every time you do that again, your 7 years continues. And so how we learn to understand that the potency of these connections, then we start to take them on as like really value, like really something way more to honor than to treat in any reference of casual, right? And so then you start to realize, oh, there aren't a lot of people that have the depth for me to be with, and I'm gonna have to accept that, because you don't want to ever leave that place, and especially once you discover it, because then you start losing your energy and you will start to realize you've changed too much to go back to this old unconscious way. So that's a lot. Sorry guys for so much, but thanks for letting me share.
We were all engaged and everybody's like woohooing, even if we're not like doing our fingers and stuff, like our brains have been like bing, 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 bing. So I have to speak for everyone. Yeah, really powerful. And thanks for taking it to the sex, because this is a space that we're exploring right now, and we're, watching the videos and trying to really learn more and soon attract, a coach. And I think the other part that I really want to hone in is like, everybody needs someone in their life that's helping them call out their shit. Like everyone. And I love it from the people that I've chosen for that role. Because when you get to choose that person, I want to say that, like, that's up to you. It's a privilege to be that person in someone's life. And it's a privilege to receive that information. Hey, it's this. And I love it. I've got a couple people in my life right now where I'm like, I'm not seeing something. What is it? I know, because I just did this again. What am I missing? And they're like, are you sure? I love that. The last one. Are you sure you're ready for this? This might hurt a little bit. I was like, bring it on. Bring it on. And you know what? It didn't hurt. I was relieved. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for that. That was a good one. And then it was like, it was right there. It was right there. But when she said it, it helped just put the flashlight on it so that I could see it too. And that's a gift, right, Joel? I mean, that's what this is about. And I think that's something we all need to embrace. And it doesn't matter how smart you are, because me without a coach is not a good thing. It's just not. It caused a lot of problems, and I definitely, I had spiritual ego. I knew all this stuff. I could share all this stuff. I could articulate all this stuff, but wow. Because it's so subtle how it takes over sometimes. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I would I think there is a time where you're called to be totally alone too. So it's always about listening, because there will be a point where you need to let go of anyone's perspective on you.
Yeah.
And that's a really key moment in your life, and that'll be guided and you'll see that. But self-honesty is the thing here. We, for whatever reason, have the hardest time being honest to ourselves. And so however you can do that, it could be strategies. There are systems in place that are sort of built for that. So it just depends on you, because if you're looking around in the world right now and you're not finding something that resonates, you also really want to make sure, like Marie said, it's your choice. Don't let somebody come in and be that for you because you didn't feel that in some other form. And for me, it's the Earth Mother as well as it is my teachers. Like, I go to her and I've bridged that connection so that I'm actually getting spoken to. It's not words, but when you're able to sustain silence for a long period of time, the way these celestial or these beings talk, these magical beings, even animals, will communicate directly to you, and you will think, first it'll be a little confronting, like, did I really just receive this? Because that was strong. And then you start working with it, and you start understanding, and you work with shamans about it, and they teach you how that works and where it comes from. And it gets so intense that if you work with a real shaman, they can tell you shit that happened to you when you're 4 years old that you don't remember, because they can pull it, because it's all available, right? So that's scary as fuck, because you're dealing with somebody that can pull the carpet out from you in every possible way at any point, at any time. And so there's very few people like that. And the ones that I do know that can do that aren't people I can work with. So it's a very rare thing. But what I'm bringing up is we're going to move toward this stuff. Shamanism isn't separate from us. We are all shamanic. The hypnosis was dealt with where those few were allowed to be unhypnotized throughout this whole time. Shamans have been with us the whole time, tracking all this, guiding us, transforming, evolving, holding space, seeing it all, right? And they've kept an oral tradition, and it's available to everybody to access when you do the recapitulation and you go back through time and you return to the now. We're all living in the past and the future. Nobody's really living in the now. That's bullshit. I don't know anybody, I've never heard or talked to anybody that's actually truly in the eternal now. Reaching this place will completely destroy you. So you have to have emptied yourself of every single thing. No attachment whatsoever. Detachment is critical. Indifference is critical. You cannot be reacting. You can't be overwhelmed with the beauty or the terror that comes with being fully activated and becoming, engaged in this miracle on the level that those before us have written about, have talked to us about. So it's just a lot, and that's okay. We want a lot. We're here for a lot. Thank you.
So powerful, so beautiful. It keeps us in the mystery too. It keeps us on our toes. I think that's important too, our level of humility on this journey. Just being humble. Like it's just so wow. If I said that, if we were really in the moment, we'd combust. It's like, yeah, if people say, well, I don't have an ego. I go, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't, you just wouldn't. If you were egoless, you'd be gone already. Right on. Wow, Joel, how are you going to follow that up? Alan, Dave, who's going for it? Good luck. Not me. I'm going to sit back and just sit with that all. It was so good.
All right, I'll go.
Go for it.
Hello, everyone.
Go for it. Bye, Sabina.
I got a lot of people calling me out on my shit. Sometimes too many. But, it's funny. I want to focus on what you're talking about with the love and the inadequacy. I think inadequacy plagued me my entire life. It thrusted me into my alcoholism. At 11 years old, the first time that I got drank enough to really get a good buzz, I felt like Superman, and that I could run faster, hit the ball faster. I was like, never felt that way before as an 11-year-old kid. And from that day forward, I think I chased that. So, but it started, and I don't want to blame things, but I'm a middle child. My brother was the older, responsible one. My little sister was the little girl that my daddy's little girl, and I kind of stuck in the middle, and I felt it. And I always felt like I never measured up, and it took a lot of work, and 2 failed marriages, families. I realized when Joel was talking about being alone, when I was 43 and left, I had to leave my second marriage and was standing in my house, and I thought to myself, I'm 43 years old and I've never been on my own in my entire life. I need to be by myself. And what I've learned from that is that I didn't love myself because I believed what everybody else was telling me, or my perceptions of what I thought everybody was saying. I wasn't good enough. Very few people, when I look back, actually looked me in the face and told me I wasn't good enough. Maybe I had to practice this a little more, like a teacher would, or a friend was, or even my father, do this, do that, adjust your hands here or there when he's teaching you how to hit a ball or something like that. But it was me that manifested the not good enough, because I learned that, in AA, you do an inventory. And I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff that I put towards inadequacy. And my sponsor, who I sat down with to do this, threw it from insecurity and inadequacy to egotistical and self-indulged. And I couldn't understand it. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, well, you've got everybody all figured out before you even opened your mouth. You've never had a relationship with anybody. You've never given anybody a chance to express how they really feel about you. You just set it all up and roll with it. And then once you get your mind all made up, you can just, well, that won't work out anyway. So you just avoid, and it's fear-based. And he was absolutely right. And once I started to look at how I truly interact in the world, how I affect people, how I care about people, it changed the way I feel about me. And it just, my life blossomed from there. I had this woman that, she was wonderful. She used to say, there's a difference between love and love. She says, true love is if I get up from my table and walk over to that coffee pot and I collapse on the floor, I hope somebody around here loves me enough to try to save my life. And another thing that she used to say is, you don't have to like everybody, but you damn sure better love them.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that meant, but I do now. So it's all, I don't look for anything these days, anyone or anything, because I don't know what's good for me. But I think Joel was the one that said it. When I become whole, and I'm getting there because I truly don't care what other people think of me anymore. I want to be liked. I try to be the best person I can be. But if you got a problem with me, it's you, not me. Because I'm doing the best I can. And when somebody, if and when somebody comes along that meshes with that, fine. But I'm happy by myself. I've been by myself for a long time now. And I got people, well, don't you have a girlfriend? Don't you want to do this or that? I said, hey, it's not, I'm not driven in life by that. I've got so many people in my life that I love because I know what love is now. You know, it's not love, you know, and my life is full because of it. So, you know, I try
Beautiful.
I try not to dwell on the perfect scenario or the perfect, you know, thing, you know, the White House, the picket fence and all this stuff. I've got 4 kids. My daughter, you know, she won't talk to me because of what I'm going on with my son. I texted her a few weeks ago because I'm worried. She just had a baby. My granddaughter's 3.5, and I hadn't heard anything from her, so I just texted her, "Hey, I'm a little worried about you. Are you okay? How's Allie? How's little Justin?" And she just texts back something derogatory about enabling my son. And I think to myself, you know, it hurt. I didn't like it, but you know what? It's on her. It's not on me. And if I keep availing myself to be in a place where I'm needed and loved and useful, if she doesn't see that now, I don't have to spend my energy on that. She'll come to me at some point, and everything will be all right because I've experienced that before. I know that to be true. So I try not to be the director of the play anymore. I try to let things unfold as they will. Right. Joel, I don't know about, you know, I agree with you. I don't think there's anybody that 100% lives in the moment, but that's my goal every day. I focus on living in the now. I really don't want to I spent too much of my life looking in the rear view mirror, and I'm not going to do that anymore, you know. And as far as looking forward, I can plan, but I don't plan the outcome, and I don't get fearful. And the last thing that I'll discuss is money. Everybody needs it. It's what you do. My father-in-law, who was really successful, told me money is a tool to do good things. That's what so that's what I've tried to do with it. It's not a priority in my life. And I've seen it in my own life and in others. When you do the right thing and you're on the right path and you struggle a little bit and you turn to God, it gets taken care of. Somehow, some way it gets taken care of. So I don't worry about it.
It does.
That's all.
Yeah, because worry would be fear. Just an extension of fear. It's just fear and love. I want to touch on something you said that really resonated with me, just about like that's on them. If someone feels that way about me, like I don't have to, that's on them. It really feels like empowering in a way, because it always brings me back to what was my intention to hurt, you know, and maybe I was manipulative, or maybe I was, you know, we all have these egoic personality traits sometimes, and sometimes we don't see them. But I always come back to, was it my intention? If my intention is love, then I'm safe. And then if that's what was projected and that's what someone says, oh, we're, you know, that, then I can be like, you know what, no, because I'm going to look at that myself. I'm going to take that to my guidance. I'm going to sit with that. But I really feel that, and I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but I feel like for the most part, all of us have positive intentions. Like, we don't mean to be hurtful, even though sometimes we are. We don't mean to be manipulative or judgmental or whatever it is. So that's why this whole self-realization journey is so essential, because we want to realize more and more of ourselves. So if you're not enabling, then you're just not. That's her perception of it. But it gives us this opportunity to decide for ourselves, well, is that true for me? And that's where a lot of the self-love and I think the connection from God is like, was I that way? Asking God, like, do I need a reframe here? Do I need a recircuit here? This happened to me 4 or 5 times in the last week. What am I missing? What do I need to look at here? You know, like that. So I think that a lot of us that come to these, you know, these circles and this like mighty companion thing is about really, we're here to purify our hearts. We're here to move from the heart. We're here to be heart-centered, to be loving, to learn what that is again. It's very innate within us, but it's a learning process because of all the damage. I mean, 7 years, sex with someone, 7 years. Like, we need to sit with this, friends. You're going to feel I know this to be true. I absolutely know this. I'm like, ugh. You know, this takes time. I don't know how you feel about this, Joe, but I think we can accelerate if we, you know, if we go hard, like if we go deep into the, you know, shamanic practices and we go deep into our healing, maybe we can accelerate or we can collapse timelines. Sometimes that's possible. Sometimes it's not. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I watched a woman do 40 years of work in 2 years to keep up with her teachers so she could leave this dimension with them. She didn't want to wait. And she discovered unbending intent, and she never wasted a single second. Most masculine energy I've ever witnessed in a female, but the balance was powerful. She discovered her divine masculine and her divine feminine, and she bridged the world of perception, and she moved beyond this world just by going completely silent. So yeah, we can't live in the now the way that those people do yet, but we wouldn't want to. And so, but you can spend as much time and as you can here in the now to the point that you can, knowing that, you know, yeah, it's going to prepare you for the real graduation of that process. But yeah, thank you, Dave, for sharing about, you know, it's when you talk to the higher self of your children, you know, if you start doing that, go speak to them from your silence, get really quiet, and then call up their name and speak to them everything that you want to say that you wouldn't be able to say because of the things that they would say back. Don't speak to them as if they're going to respond, but speak directly to their higher self, to their heart. And because it's just it's too difficult for them to hear you at this point, and you're evolving and you're discovering a new neural pathway, and they are on an old neural pathway, and that's their rite of passage to discover whether they do or not. But you have a lot more. Your ability to learn to communicate will be the key. And so when you face that part of yourself and don't look or blame or expect them to meet you halfway, in fact, you're going to have to walk all the way over to where they're at. You're going to have to make the whole journey. And you're going to have to figure out, how do they communicate? What's their syntax? What are their triggers? You will strategize this, and you will heal your relationship with your children in time, even if they don't know it. It's so selfless to do this, because it's so not about you, but you're going to heal the genetic line for them.
Yes. I love that. I feel, wow, mind blown. I love that. Did you want to respond, Dave, before I pop in? Go ahead. No, he's good. He's like, no, it's good. It is so selfless to do this work, isn't it? It's like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna heal this. You've decided that you were gonna do that. Like, what a gift. Wow. Yeah, that really, really resonates with me. Learning how they communicate and not expecting people to meet us halfway. Gosh, how many of us get tripped up on that one? Well, it's so self-righteous. Would Jesus say that? Like, I mean, come on. Would Jesus say some of the things we say? Such a good line. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus say? But not the scary Jesus. Let's reframe that one. I don't really think he was scary. That's on me. I think he was much kinder than we give him credit for. So, wow, Alan, what you got for us today, brother?
I can relate to a lot of things that was said today, and a couple of times I kind of like went off screen to wipe my tears and blow my nose because it brought back memories. But yeah, I kind of wanted to start with the outhouse part first. I don't have an outhouse yet, but for about 11 days now, I got me a bucket, right? And I mentioned this the last time, so I've been eating a lot of fruits that have seeds that are hard to pick out, like kiwis and tomatoes. And I don't want those seeds to go to waste down the toilet, because I kind of look at each seed as life. And so I poop in a bucket and I take it to work, and then I buy flower pots and I dump them in flower pots and I add a little bit of dirt, and I've been watering them almost like every day. And I believe yesterday I see tomatoes growing out, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to eat these tomatoes that pass through me, and
Wow.
they know what I'm missing. So I can't wait. So I think tomatoes are like 1.5 months or 2 months, right, until we could eat the fruit. So I'm kind of excited for that. Tomorrow's my birthday. Oh, Cancer, 35, turned 35, and I'm hoping I get to stay strong for another 85. So I can have more time on this physical realm to love more. And the reason why I say 85 more years, because Genesis chapter 6 verse 3 mentioned that God, I don't know if he lowered man's life to 120 years, but when I read that Genesis chapter 6 verse 3, I was looking online. I searched like longest living man recorded on earth, and Wikipedia, right? I don't know how accurate it is, but they gave me a list of longest living folks that was recorded, and then the average was around 117, 116. So I'm like, oh my God, it's somewhat accurate. And then I've been looking into a lot of religions, well, since my 20s, and I'll get to that a little later. But since I started this fraternal journey, I've actually looked into Jainism. And as I was reading Jainism was saying the same thing. People of this era live to 120 years, but back in the day, they lived to hundreds and hundreds and thousands. And then I think, oh yeah, didn't Noah live to like 800 years old? So it was like, oh wow, they share the same similar information, Jainism and the Bible, or Genesis, right? But yeah, I do remember when I'm like, I do have little memories of when I was like 1 year old, 2 years old. And one of the earliest memories was when I went to, I was on a stroller. My family went to Disneyland, and I remember sitting on the stroller looking at the Ferris wheel. I think that's what it's called, right? It's a little spinning, big spin. And then that part is in my memory for like the longest time. In my 20s, in my early 20s, I believe I was like 23. I was in a lot of pain. Lots of failed relationships. I didn't really have a lot of girlfriends growing up, And so like one of my first girlfriends, serious girlfriends, we were planning to get married, my fiance, that didn't work out. And I was really hurt. I felt like, I'm not good enough, unlovable. So the next girlfriend I had, yeah, we got married. That failed, right? Because I was trying to cover that hole that I had. So that failed. And yeah, I was living with her in St. Louis, and I moved out, traveling, just trying to like find myself. Found my way to Oregon, and then I found my way to California. And yeah, I was in a lot of pain. I was trying to find peace inside, and I didn't really know how. I just drank a lot of alcohol to kind of like suppress it, which kind of made it worse, right? And then I got into looking into different religions or religions, right, or way of life. And one of the first ones was Buddhism, and then Shintoism, and then I found I got really into shamanism and got really into psychedelics and shrooms. I still haven't done ayahuasca yet, but I found some salvia extract, like 10x salvia extract, and then I was experimenting with that. I put it in a bong, I hit it with a torch, and this world it closed up on me. It closed. This world closed up, and a different world opened up, and I became this Ferris wheel, or like a gear of a clock, and it's spinning this, and then I'm like right here, it's spinning, and there's like this horizon, and then as it's spinning, I'm about to disappear into that horizon, and I associated that with my existence disappearing. I associated that with death, and I was still like young. I wasn't ready for death, so I panicked. But it was interesting that I saw that Ferris wheel that I saw when I was like 1 or 2 years old, and yeah, I panicked. That was in my 20s, but in my 30s, I had an incident last year where I could have died at sea, but I didn't panic that time. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'm getting more mature and more accepting of death, and not fearing physical death, because I feel like, yeah, now that I believe that there is an afterlife and maybe the next level, and hopefully I don't get to get recycled back here. And if I do, I won't be too mad. I'll try again. This time if I do remember, if I do have parts of the memories, I'll try to love from a younger age. But I was, and here's the thing, when Dave was talking about it, kind of brought tears to my eyes. I was the middle child as well. The first child was my brother, male, and then me, and then a sister. She's the only female in the family, so she was really got spoiled. And then the youngest is a brother, and so whatever my oldest brother got away with, I didn't get away with, because my mother is like, okay, but the older one got away with this, the second one's definitely gonna be my puppet puppet type thing, right? So like that kind of made me feel like, hey, maybe why am I treated different? Am I not good enough? And then the younger sister, she was treated really different, right? She's the only girl, so she was really spoiled. So okay, so it's like, okay, I understand that part. And then my younger brother comes along. We're like 7 years apart. So whatever I didn't get away with, my mom became more chill, and my younger brother, whatever I didn't get away with, my younger brother got away with it, right? He's the youngest. He's one of the spoiled, and so he was spoiled as well. So it's like, why am I treated differently out of all the siblings? And I felt, I was not good enough. Not maybe I'm not lovable. And growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was picked on at school. I was obese. I was the only Japanese kid in my class. You know, like I didn't have any friends. But my older brother had a lot of friends, and so that made me feel like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. I'm unlovable. And the only friend I had was like my mom. And I remember at a young age, for like Christmas and I think for my birthday, I didn't have friends, so I asked for animals. Like I wanted rabbits, I wanted turtles, and it's like, oh, no wonder why I became a vegan later on down the line. But yeah, that really made me feel like I wasn't good enough, especially like I don't want to make it sound like a stereotype, but my mother is like an old school Asian Japanese mother, really like I get a test, I get a grade, I get a B on my test, and she, you know, she's the type who would be like, you're an Asian, not a Bijan. You know what I mean? Like that's a joke. But I remember in junior high graduation, you know how they call out the top 10 academically highest grade GPA, and I was number 8. I was number 1 to 7 were girls, females, and then I was number 8. I was like the top male in my class, and my mom's like, number 8, that's it. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, that's another thing. Like I wasn't. So from there, it's just it. I kind of started rebelling. You know, that was my junior high. So my freshman year, I started making friends. I got into a fight with a kid in my class, and from there I started making lots of friends, or some bad friends, and I landed in eventually I landed in juvenile detention. And yeah, I thought I failed my mother, but she picked me up from juvenile detention, and the first thing she asked was like, "Are you hungry?" You know what I mean? And then that's what the memory kind of bring tears to my eyes. But yeah, all throughout my life, yeah, I felt unlovable. I'm not good enough. But looking back now, like because of where this journey got me, or a lot of the events in my life got me to where I am now, and I'm really happy with where I am at now. I mean, I'm not the richest man on earth. I'm probably one of the poorest guys ever. And another thing with money, yeah, I'm trying to be like as minimalist as possible. Like a lot of my clothes I got, they're just like gifts from family and friends. This hat, it says today is gonna be a good day. I thought that was sweet. You know, like if people read that, I hope it manifests for people. So I like wear it around. I bought it for $1. You know, it's like sweet. But I every time I travel somewhere, I buy gifts for people with the money I make. And so yeah, I use it like a tool to I try to use it as a tool for good. I try to use it as a tool for good. But yeah, it's just, I look at life like it's a like a test, like all these bad things that make me feel like I'm unlovable or not good enough. It's actually a test. And I look at my life now, and yeah, I know the Creator loves me, because like I'm at a point in life where I'm really happy, even though all those bad things happened to me in the past that made me feel unlovable. Now I look at it now, it's like, oh my God, this is love. Yeah, it puts me like Job, right? It puts me through all kinds of stuff, and it's for a reason, right? Now, because of that, I'm a lot stronger, or I think I'm a lot stronger, but I am who I am now. I used to be such an asshole clown, but now it's all about love. And yeah, in my 20s, when I got into shamanism, I know Joel mentioned this the other day or yesterday on Justin's channel about Carlos Castaneda. Yeah, that's one of the that's one of the books one of the authors I started looking into. It was Carlos Castaneda, and I think Separate Reality was one of my favorite ones. And then DMT, Spirit Molecule with Rick Strassman. I really got into psychedelics. I was looking for like peace. I was looking for healing. I didn't know how, and so that's kind of like where a lot of my my journey to look for like my spiritual journey kind of like began. I'm sure it began like a long time ago, but that's where it really kicked off with shamanism, and then the diet, right? I was such a fat kid that I was so open to different kinds of diets that I really did a lot of research, especially in 2017 when I reached 230 pounds, which was the highest I ever been. And so I started really looking into diet, and then the more you research, the more you realize I don't know shit. And the more you research, especially on diet, the more windows for these rabbit holes open up. And next thing I know, I'm on Miraculous Mondays, getting all these great information and great energy, and I'm really thankful for where this journey took me to and where this journey got me to. And I totally believe that this is all love. And that's it for now. I'll let you guys know how that tomato tastes.
We'll see you soon. It's amazing how quick, just 11 days, how beautiful God is, how the spirit there's no time. It's just amazing. That was such a tender share, Alan. I just want to acknowledge you for that. I feel really honored. I know I can speak for the rest of us here that are in the Zoom room. It's such a privilege. I say that a lot, but I just want to say, I'm not just saying that, like, I really mean that. It really is an honor to sit as someone is sharing their journey back to God, their journey home, and how it unfolds for all of us in different ways, but the themes are all the same, aren't they? I mean, they're just all about returning to our natural state of being, and all of the practices and all of the situations and all of the hardships. I think even Dave shed a tear there around, with the baggage we carry, and how those, I'll use Joel's language, just create more masks and layers, and how this journey is just taking them off. I mean, there's bazillions of them, just this whole excavation process of just uncovering to reveal more and more of that blank canvas, and how so many of these different experiences fit into different categories in our life, creating this magnificent experience. So even the real hard things of, like, you can see how not feeling good enough created the food thing, created the alcohol thing, created the woman thing. It's like, it's such a concept that's untrue, but it manifests as truth because we're so powerful, and we can use it. We can't avoid that. We can't avoid our energy being used. We are either creating with our creator, or we're miscreating with fear-based egoic consciousness. And so this is the distinction that so many of us are making in this present time, that we're like, okay, wow. And then we're starting to take responsibility for some of it, but we're also starting to see the patterns in our ancestral history too, and that's where the forgiveness comes in. Like, when you can look at your mom and go, wow, I wonder what her mom said to her when she brought home a bee, and then there's compassion, and then there's the capacity to make it not about us. Like Joel was saying earlier, it's like, I don't have to make this like I'm wounded anymore, because I see it and I'm forgiving it. Forgiving is the goal of the spiritual practice, because we've judged all of it. We didn't know how to perceive our reality. Like, so this is all really, really major. What's happening for so many of us right now, it's such an honor. And I just feel like, we have these Miraculous Mondays, and then I've got my groups, and now I'm coaching again. And so I just have so many more people in my life that are sharing their tenderness. And I find that an act of strength. So thank you for that, that transparency and that authenticity, and that just like, because then you're not giving shame and guilt the power anymore. and you're pulling back that energy, and now you're creating so much. Like the fact that you're going to eat tomatoes that came from your poop, like, do you know how many minds you just blew? Just like, for the people that are watching this now and later, like that blew my mind. Like I still like have, I'm still healing this food thing. And I don't think, yes, on some levels it might, some of us can heal our stuff in an instant. Some of us just boom. And some of us have other things that are categories and aspects of reality that are going to take longer. Like we were talking to earlier. So you doing that aspect of it fills in this amazing tapestry, because like you're really going hard on that and you're really mastering that right now. And that means we can lean into that a little bit. Like I was talking about last week, all levels practice in the same room. So Joel's really working on this aspect, and Dave's over here, and Becca's there, and I'm here, and together we're in this, in this beautiful thing where we're coming home. We're becoming more and more holy. So I just really want to acknowledge everybody that came today. Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel really tenderized. I feel good. It's a beautiful thing that we're experiencing right now. And I just want us always to remember that you're so loved. You're so loved. You can't not be loved. It's impossible for you not to be loved. It's just we were looking side to side when we just had to close our eyes and look inside. So I'm going to pass it over to, you're getting so much love in the chat too. Everybody, guys, got so much love in the chat. So I just want to thank you guys for being here. But I want to pass it to Joel, because I asked him if he would lead us in a meditation, because I just thought, he gave us so much today. It would be beautiful to have you finish the show today. So thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Alan. I love you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Marie. Yeah, I'm honored to close up here. Yeah, so I invite everybody to go ahead and get really comfortable, and make sure you're really comfortable. Like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have your back straight or anything. If you want to lean back or lay down, we're going to go pretty deep and relax into something. So yeah, go ahead and start with your own breathing. I'm going to just begin with a deep breath in, and I'm going to kind of force the air out at first and then let it fall into a natural place. We're going to draw energy in, beautiful earth energy, up into the upper chakras, and from the upper chakras we're going to breathe energy back down into the lower, and we're going to just let our breath start to roll up and down our chakra line. Find that flow. In, out. Find your rhythm. And we're going to all get together, and we're going to take a nice little walk. Find a big wide trail in the forest. This is your dream trail. This trail is specific to you. This trail leads to the same place, but this trail is yours. This trail is beautiful. It's as beautiful as you are, and it's reflecting everything that you are. So I want you to see and tell me, or tell yourself what you're seeing. What kind of trees are there, and where are the leaves, and what does the earth look like? What's the color? Can you smell? Keep walking forward. Follow the trail and let it form in your mind. Let it form in your being. And we're all going to find our tree. We're all going to find the tree that calls to us, and we have time to find it. It's going to pull us toward it. You don't have to do this like you're a human being walking. You can float over to it. You can travel across the world to find your favorite tree, or you can pick the tree that you go to every day. When you find it, we're going to sit at the trunk of the tree. You can face the tree and put your heart to the base, or you can lay down next to the tree. I want you to dig your hands into the earth, let them get dirty, and find 2 roots, 1 for each hand. I want you to hold those roots. And I want you to anchor your heart and your lower chakra and link it into the earth. You're going to press down. You're going to ground. You're going to feel what it's like for that tree. Now you're going to let your awareness travel along those 2 roots, deeper into the earth. And if your body can follow, go ahead. Head first, enter the earth. Follow the roots. Hold on to them. And let the earth pull you further and further into her depths. Now you're heading toward other roots of other trees, and you're going to learn how they talk to each other. Follow the roots until you hit an intersection. Yeah. Now you're going to switch. You're going to feel an entirely different tree. Now with 2 hands, you hold on to 1 root of this new tree. You feel how different it is? It has its own story. Follow this root all the way back to its trunk. And now you've relocated yourself in the forest. You're hanging out with this other tree. You're dirty, and you're covered in mud, and you're grounded, and you're in the earth, and you're going to stand up, and you're going to feel what you just accomplished. You are a divine traveler of awareness. You are connected to this forest with every fiber of your being. These trees have chosen to be here. They chose this very location. They are family. Some of these trees are old sorcerers that didn't want to leave, and they chose to reassemble their perception and become a tree. And you'll notice that in the redwoods, these groves are built this way. The grandfathers and the grandmothers are with us. They have so much gnosis for us. And you can always grab the root of a tree in your dreaming. You can always feel this connection to the earth and the smell of the dirt. You can always get dirty, and you can always put yourself in this earth. She will always heal you. Even if it's just a little bit, she'll do whatever she can for you whenever she can. And eventually you'll learn to go to her more and more in new ways. So feel the root in your being. You will walk lighter now. Your steps will be more trusting. You will feel the buoyancy of the Earth Mother under your feet for the rest of your days. So enjoy this. Enjoy the Mother. Spend as much time holding the root, connecting to her until you're so grounded that you feel capable of becoming lucid in every way. And understand that this takes time. The Earth Mother is going to provide this path for you. Keep the breathing going. Let your breath guide you back into your body. Bring all that rooted, grounded energy all the way back into the center chakra line. And go ahead and open your eyes. And you're feeling it. Thank you, everybody.
There's no way this week is going to be without miracles. After that. That was so fun. That was so fun. Let's do that again. I'm going to tell people to catch the last 10 minutes of the show. If anything else, that was beautiful. Thank you, Jill, so much. I just, there's stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everybody. You guys have a beautiful week. Namaste. Gracias.